Well, speed kills. It used to be a logo for the Bombers back in the early 90s when they won the 93 premiership. That was what they spoke about. And speed killed Collingwood. Brisbane Lions were too quick. So we look at some of the goals. They were just hanging on, Collingwood, I thought, after half-time. It was 7 goals to 3 after half-time. And you see some of this. It was just too much for Collingwood. So Collingwood are a wonderful pressure side. This is a wonderful kick by Darcy Gardner.
Almost the kick of the season.
Yeah, and we spoke to Josh Dunkley yesterday. He said, you must go at Collingwood. If you don't go at them, their defensive press and their pressure is too good. Brisbane take them on. That's what they did to Sydney in the grand final. This is exactly what happened.
As you're highlighting what they're doing here, and it's explosively spectacular at times, but there's a plan around it all, isn't there, Lordo?
Yeah, they're pretty good in tight, and then they get it on the outside, and they know what Darcy Moore's doing behind the ball, who we're about to talk to, and Maynard and these guys. They're pretty aggressive, so if you can get it out the back and onto them. But I look at the youth of what they've got, Damon. They've got Rayner, Bailey, Fletcher, Ashcroft ×2, Wilmot. So there's so much speed on that ball that, as I said, it was too much for the Pies.
And then you've got a guy who's only 70 days into his 20th year of life in Logan Morris, kicking 6 goals against the super team that is Collingwood, 40 for the year, and 2 bags of 5 on other occasions this year. Yeah,
and he challenged this Collingwood defence, which does worry me. The Lions' marks and the defensive concerns for Collingwood. So here it is. Charlie Dean, I know I don't like talking about a young defender like this, but he's just not there and he's just not ready.
Well, not there as the second in this team at the moment. Maybe the third, but not the second.
That's right. So Jeremy Howe comes back this week, so we'll see how they measure up in that regard. I thought Maynard did a really good job, but the rest of them probably got found out a little bit. So Darcy Moore is someone that Perryman's even back there. Didn't have a great night either. So, yeah, they do have defensive woes. And the reliance on Nick Dacos again is become way too much.
You flagged this problem down back, I think, some weeks ago before it became obvious in them losing 3 of their past 4 matches. Obviously, the Fremantle loss and the Gold Coast loss before the Lions. You are worried though, aren't you?
Well, I've got concerns. I feel like you should be settled right now. And I go back to what Craig McRae did against the Gold Coast Suns, where he started Scott Pendlebury as a sub. And then he tried Mitchell and Long together, and they were pedestrian in the midfield. So that cost them the game, in my opinion. Now we move on, and you start Bobby Hill as a sub, and you work De Goey into the game, and then you sub De Goey out, and you bring Hill in. I just think they're unsettled. They're an unsettled team when you've got the Adelaide Crows, who we know what they're going to do. They're confident in what they're doing. I think Collingwood need to pick their best side, make some brutal hard calls, and sort of settle their team back down. They've gone from 10 points clear to now fighting for a top 2, top 4 spot.
I've got no doubt there's a training load going on at the moment, but I think the contrast you've made between the seamless transition of the Adelaide club right now being in at top form. Another concern for you, and you flagged this as they were winning matches, is the forward line.
Yeah, it is, because Daniel McStay he came to the club to be the main man for them, and if he's not kicking goals, he doesn't supply them for anyone else either. So he's a 3-possession player the other night, 1 mark, 1 goal. That's just not good enough. I don't mind Membry because he was just a bargain pick, and he's been pretty good for them for what they've offered. And I give Myercheck a tick because he's a warrior, and 9 times out of 10 he's pretty good. So McStay's the one for me that is just not doing enough to warrant, when you look at Logan Morris kicking 6 down one end, what Jesse Hogan does for his team. So stars everywhere. Thilthorpe, what he's doing for Adelaide, and then you've got McStay, who's getting 7 possessions.
Yep.